Hey everybody, this is Robbie Straczynski for Cardplayer Lifestyle, and I'm here with Lupe Soto, the founder of the Women's Poker Association, and of course, a Women in Poker Hall of Famer. Lupe, how are you today?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so excited to be here.
Actually, a little birdie told me that your term as WPA president has come to a close. So I figured now would be a good time to catch up with you and talk a little bit about the WPA and your plans moving forward. Does that sound all right to you?
That sounds great.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, everyone knows the name Lupe Soto. You've done a ton in the poker industry over your career. You founded Lips, you founded the Seniors Poker Tour, and all manner of work in the online poker space. And of course, you're perhaps best known for being a fierce advocate to grow the game specifically for women. What was your vision when you first set out to found the Women's Poker Association?
Well, it's interesting because I knew when you're in the trenches of women's poker and you're kind of pounding on the doors and trying to get operators to understand the importance of having programming for women in their poker room so that we can grow the game and all kinds of other reasons. But it was very difficult to do when you're a proprietary type of entity, which I was, which is Lips. Lips is definitely, it's a for-profit business. It's a poker tour for women. And so when you go and share a message under that umbrella, everybody thinks you want something from them. So it's kind of like, yeah, of course I would like your poker room to be a Lips stop at some point. Sure. But that was difficult to separate the message. Okay. Sure. So there was an attempt in about I want to say 2009 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. So I got together with a couple of my girlfriends who also had a passion for women in poker, and we decided to try the Women's Poker Association. The challenge with it is that it started to look like a tour, and that was not the objective. And I also believe that at the minute that you become a tour or another entity that is a competing thing with an operator, there's a tendency not to have a very open dialogue.
Right.
So we had to go back to the drawing board, just completely wipe that idea out. And having an association become a nonprofit was really the way to go. Simply because now nobody's after any dollars. The only dollars that are raised are for the good of the association and for the betterment and improvement of it overall.
Right.
So that was game changing.
Right. So, I believe that officially, like, the president's term at the WPA is 3 years. Can you share with us some of the highlights from your time at the helm of the WPA? Maybe you've got some particular achievements that you're very proud of.
So for the first 2 years of my 5 years with the WPA was in the executive director position and that in that role. So I didn't have a vote on the board. So the direction, I had a voice, but I didn't have a vote.
Right.
So when the Bonnie Carl, who was the president at the time, stepped down, I was like, okay, I knew that the transition was critical. So I said, okay, you guys, I will accept a position as president, but I'm really wanting this to be bigger than me. So I wanted to do it one term, which was 3 years. I'd say some of the highlights as far as, in our overall mission, one of our missions was to educate women in poker, and having created a partnership with Poker Power, which is another organization that's mission is to teach women how to play poker and to instruct women as to how poker as a game translates into real life business practices and things we can utilize in our regular day lives. That was a huge thing for me. Secondly, I think the Raise It Up program to introduce that into the industry and to ask the industry to embrace it. And so we are asking all operators and all players to elevate their experiences at the game by respecting their players when they're playing and to make it more fun so that we can grow the game. So the Raise It program is another thing that I'm extremely proud of. And I would have to say the third thing, and these are just the top, 3 things that come to mind, but for years and years, the men in the game would ask me, hey, I like lips and I like that women are playing in the game, and how can I help and what can I do? And that's when the Purple Tie Guy program came through. And being purple is the color of the WPA, and ties being the thing that is kind of iconic for a man. Sure. The Purple Tie Guy was basically born.
Absolutely. Some big feathers in your cap. And of course, I'm a very proud purple tie guy myself, happy to always support and be an ally of the WPA. The board of directors in particular, but of course, all WPA members, so thankful for everything that you've done. And the time has come to sort of pass the torch once again, so to speak. And of course, though, even though you'll be passing the torch, there's still so much more to do. With the poker community perhaps more aware than ever before, very much in part due to the work that you've done, of the need to bring more women into the game, what sort of milestones for women in poker would you like to see next?
Well, I would like to see every operator on the planet have a program and wait a minute. Let's just say, let's have a discussion. What are you doing to bring women into the game? What are you doing in your house, in your own poker room or your own business or whatever it is to bring women in the game? So I would like to see that next thing happen where there's a conversation about what they're going to do and put a little bit of money into it, even though, because they're not looking at what's happening. They're only seeing a number, but if you look and you see how many women, if maybe there's the numbers in the highest levels. And if you ask me, if you're playing in the World Series of Poker tournaments, those are the highest levels of our game, correct? Right. If you're playing in main events of poker tours, that's an elevation of the game. If you start looking at the smaller buy-in kind of stuff, or even in cash games in poker rooms, there are women everywhere playing, right? And you didn't see that before. I think that if you start looking in mixed games, there's a lot more women playing in mixed games than you've ever seen before. That's so I do believe that we're making progress, and I think that the conversation needs to be active every day, every year. What can we do? How can we do things? So I think that's what be my parting thing. What can happen next?
That would be a wonderful thing. Well, speaking of parting words, do you have any special well wishes to Tara Smith? She was the vice president of the Women Poker Association. Now she'll be stepping in to your shoes. Anything that you'd like to wish her?
Well, it's not just Tara. Tara, I love Tara. I've known Tara for many years. She worked with me with Lips back in the day. She got recruited away from me because she's a rock star. And we don't pay anything, and she got paid really well. So she went on, and she's now even working with an amazing company in her professional life. And then doing, she still has the passion for women in poker, and she's such a rock star, excellent hands, the association and the leadership that's now in place. Our board of directors are some amazing women. And there's not just the board of directors, there's the advocates, all the advocates that are out in the field that are representing women in poker and representing our association. They're doing amazing work. And so I'm really excited about the next generation of women. I believe that it's just going to be a wave after wave after wave of success from this point on. And, I'm just so proud of them and the work that they've done and the commitment, because this is an all volunteer organization. Nobody gets paid here, and it's, as you know, volunteer jobs are schlep jobs sometimes, and if it means just stapling papers together or licking stamps or whatever the heck we need, these women are stepping up to the plate, from the smallest of tasks to the greatest of tasks. So I'm just extremely proud of them, and I know they're going to do a great job. And the current board that's in place are rock stars.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, you're not necessarily going to continue leading the WPA from the presidency, but I have a hunch that you're still going to continue advocating very strongly for women in poker. You got a lot of gas left at the tank, and you're going to be growing the game in other ways. Maybe you can tell us, what are your upcoming plans with Lips and your other ventures?
Well, Lips is always going to be my baby. I mean, it's a passion, and right now, like I mentioned, this is like the last chapter for me. I feel like 20 years ago, it was to bring women into the game. Then, I needed to add some more things. I felt like I really started to understand the industry and who's out there and who's doing what and what's not being done. And now I kind of feel like I want to use this next chapter as a real kind of a culmination of everything. And I've been given an opportunity that I'm so excited about. So I have a plan for the next chapter for me. And the next chapter for me is to introduce a new tour. And that new tour is open to everyone. It will be that will have a ladies event and it will have a seniors event. So SBT and Lips will still be involved.
Right.
But I've been blessed with the opportunity to grow a legacy and a namesake for Mike Sexton. Wow. So I am going to be launching the Mike Sexton All-American Poker Circuit.
Wow.
So we're currently in talks, and we're seeking out 10 launch properties across the state who want to be a part of this. And there's very few people in our industry who deserve this kind of a recognition. And Mike is definitely one of those people. So now we have Mike's name being, edified, and we'll have the All-American Poker Tour as we want it. I mean, it is red, white, and blue, honey. It is the Eagle's nest. If you're a champion, we're talking, draped in that stuff. And Mike is a veteran. And so it was really important to us to have an event in there that honors first responders and veterans. Yeah. And so we will have that in there, and that is also a fundraiser for Poker Gives. And so it's really a culmination of Mike's legacy and what he's given to this game, and then the good that he's done, and to be able to continue that on. So beautiful. That's the next chapter.
So exciting to look forward to that, and just so exciting for you to have that wonderful thing to look forward to. I'm sure it's going to be super successful with you, leading the charge there. Lupe, before we go, do you have any parting words for the WPA memberships, or perhaps for the greater poker audience of both men and women who will likely see or read this interview?
I think the most important thing is that our mission in the WPA is to really actively eliminate the barriers to growing our game. And so if you are an operator, have a conversation about what you're doing for women in poker. If you're a poker player, have a conversation with yourself about how you behave at the poker table and what is okay and what isn't okay, and be an advocate for a better game, and be an advocate to be a better player, and not just in your skill set, but also in your persona. Sure. Just be friendly, be welcoming. Make sure that if you see somebody who's new at the game, just introduce yourself. Just say hi. And just remember to not be critical. But I just think just being welcoming, being friendly, and respecting the rules, and supporting the staff that's there to serve you. To me, that's highly important. I mean, treat the dealers correctly, and if you have a problem, don't sit there and berate a dealer. Stand up and go talk to the floor. Take it away from the atmosphere of the game. Let's elevate the game in all ways.
Such an important message. And I guess, there's no better note on which to end off this talk. Lupe, I want to just thank you again for joining me here today. And I just also want to chime in with my best wishes to you in all of your future endeavors, specifically with the Mike Sexton All-American Poker Tour. It sounds super cool. And a huge thank you for everything that you've done and everything that you continue to do to grow this game of poker that we all love so dearly. This has been Robbie Straczynski for Cardplayer Lifestyle. Thank you all for joining us.